Hi, welcome to the inaugural Nerds on Nerdy Stuff podcast/videocast. Just a heads up, it's going to be real fast and loose for the first couple of times just because we're still workshopping a bunch of stuff. Just going to go back and forth. Me, Josh.
I'm Ben.
And we're just going to kind of talk back and forth about different things newsworthy that we think you might have missed, or just things that are interesting in like pop culture, anything along those lines.
Movies, TVs, books, comics.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. But we're just going to talk to you like you're a third party in the room just having a conversation. There are going to be spoilers too for certain things like movies we've seen or books we've read.
Game of Thrones for sure.
Game of Thrones for sure. So just be advised, whatever we're going to talk about is going to have spoilers. But with all that being said,
let's get into it.
Let's go ahead and start. So Marvel released some Captain America Civil War promotional art. And it looks pretty interesting because the battle looks pretty one-sided. If you've seen the art, we're going to put it up in the video as well, and you're looking at it right now. But the teams look stacked in Tony Stark's favor. Is that just me talking about that?
Not at all. I mean, you've got the Vision. I mean, that's all you need. Yeah, get rid of Tony. You have the Vision. The Vision's going to win. I
think that alone, you have the Vision, Black Panther, War Machine, and Iron Man going off against a group that's just mostly human people. Agent 13, I don't even know why she's included in the promo art.
But we are going to see Red Wing for the first time.
Yeah, in the promo art, if you look in the top right corner just to the left of
the Falcon.
The Falcon there.
From what I've heard, it's a drone. It's not going to be an actual Falcon, but him being military background, it makes sense.
But going back to the team structure too, Captain America, his team does have Ant-Man, but
oh yeah, that's true.
He's kind of be not a one-trick pony so much, but he can only do certain things because he's still really new and inexperienced, so he's not like battle-tested or anything like that. So it's going to be interesting to see them play that off.
Speaking of battle-tested, what do you think of Black Panther? I mean, we haven't seen anything from him in the movies yet.
Yeah,
this is going to be our first sight of him.
Yeah, Black Panther is going to be a force to be reckoned with, too. That's one of the people I listed as well, like as Tony Stark's side's being overpowered because he's basically Marvel's Batman. Like, he is the go-to guy. He can beat anybody in, like, earlier iterations of Captain America and Black Panther. Like, Black Panther beat Captain America.
Yeah.
So it's like he's going to be a physical force to be reckoned with and a mental force as well. They didn't say who it was in Age of Ultron who was like changing the military codes. They said they had a friend in like that server place, like Geneva or Bern or something like that.
Right.
I think it might have been the Black Panther changing those codes, to be honest with you. That's my guess, at least. That's all speculation, too. So
it'd be a good tie-in. But, yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing him on the screen for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, too, they have set pictures that they might have been leaked, they might have been released, I can't remember. But either way, they're going to be listed on the video, too. And it shows Captain America running down the side of a building, doing basic Captain America stuff. Chris Evans looking kind of like dirt face, to be honest with you, though.
Oh, it's a stunt double for sure.
Yeah, it probably isn't Chris Evans in the picture. But then we have some cool shots of Chadwick Boseman in the Black Panther getup, which looks really cool. Him in like the stunt rigs too, so he has a bunch of wires and stuff, so it's not the final shot, but it looks really cool. A lot of detail on the helmet, a lot of cool stuff around his elbows as well. You can't really see his claws, but I'm going to assume he has the vibranium claws. That's what he's known for.
I mean, there's no reason for him not to be there.
Yeah, with Ultron, how they use vibranium so much too, it's got to be in there.
Right.
All that stuff. But he looks really good. He looks a little short, but I imagine they're going to fix that in post. That's just one of those things they fix.
It'll be all right. They know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Plus, they've had Wolverine that was 6'2" as opposed to like 5'4", whatever he's supposed to be in the comics too. So that's going to be a hurdle easily gotten over.
Well, just set a base. Are you more Marvel or DC?
Like in terms of
like, what do you prefer to read more or watch more?
Me personally, I read more DC than I read Marvel. I can appreciate the characters a bit more, but Marvel has too many interesting storylines to discount. Like you have
growing up, I read Spiderman. That's what I grew up with. Read Spiderman, started getting X-Men, especially around the '90s animated cartoon.
Yeah,
but
everyone knows that. I mean, if you're watching this, you know that for sure.
But the Batman was always my character, so I've got a working knowledge of both, but I'm not one or the other.
See, I'm
not very well versed in either, but I'll watch anything from either.
Yeah, they're both really interesting. There's no doubting that. Like the tone of the MCU, how it's a bit more at least so far, with only Man of Steel being the only movie in the DC cinematic universe. The Marvel tone
That
is
counts.
a lot. Yeah, that counts. At least, thank God, because Superman Returns. Well, a decent character movie. It wasn't a comic book movie.
And Green Lantern, that was
Green Lantern was
garbage.
As a Green Lantern fan, that was hurtful. That hurt.
Yes.
Warner Brothers, right here in my heart. But I think I'm gonna be more of a DC person. I think in movies, at least. Like I'm gonna watch the hell out of Marvel. I appreciate everything they've done. It's just the DC's taking it. It looks like a little bit more seriously, which is hard to say when you come into movies because it's comic books. Let's be honest with each other. It's not King Lear here, but it's how they're respecting a bit more of the source material, at least for what they can do cinematically, because a lot of the stuff in comic books just doesn't translate.
Not at all. But Marvel, I think they're doing a pretty good job of keeping it lighthearted, but also they started really bringing in the dark side with Daredevil on Netflix.
Yeah, they're doing that on the TV at least.
I can't wait for them to tie those universes together. I mean, we already know that Spider-Man exists in that universe.
Yeah, and
there's a kid slinging around out there that is Spider-Man, and we're gonna have the Punisher coming up out of that.
Yeah,
John Barenthal playing the Punisher. That'll be awesome.
Second fiddle Shane.
Yep. And then we've got Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, Power Man. Yeah,
and then Iron Fist eventually. But it's
eventually they're all supposed to go into Heroes for Hire too, like kind of like the Netflix version of Avengers is what the grand scheme is supposed to be, at least.
The Defenders. I mean, that's
the Defenders. Sorry, did I say Public Defenders? They're all lawyers now too.
Yeah. So it's I like that they're doing the lighthearted stuff cinematically, and they're starting to trickle in the dark stuff for the more grown up stuff, the gritty stuff that DC seems to only be doing on screen.
Yeah.
Not that they count right now, but all the Chris Nolan Batmans were just dark and gritty and depressing. And Man of Steel was dark and gritty and whitewashed out of color.
Yeah, you could tell the definite Christopher Nolanisms with how like the tone and palette was just not drab so much, but it was washed out, I guess is the phrase I'd use.
Yeah.
Which wasn't bad. It's his own like art style, but it's just like, man, I'd really like to see some bright blue flying around here instead of just like this drab navy.
On the flip side of the coin, it's their TV for DC. Flash is amazing. They're pulling everything
so good
out of the comics and
having fun with the crazy things like Grodd. For
they don't care. Yeah,
Grodd, a giant telepathic gorilla. That's dumb, but it's entertaining.
There was going to be a talking gorilla on TV, and there it is. Flash did it, and I mean Arrow. They're getting a lesson from Flash, the creative Flash. Like Arrow's dark and gritty, just like everything else. A little bit more CW soap opera-y, but with
same producers though. Greg Berlanti, I think, for both shows. Yeah,
that's true. Let's get out of comic books a little bit and comic book movies. Game of Thrones. There's a new theory floating around. You might have heard the R plus L equals J. That's the Rihanna plus Leon, or Rhaegar plus Lyanna equals Jon.
Spoilers, by the way, too.
No, we already told you.
Yeah, seriously.
So Jon Snow might be half Targaryen, half Stark.
Yeah. Because if you've seen was it season 5, the season ender?
He's dead.
A big pool of blood came out from underneath him because all the guys from the Night's Watch just pretty much stabbed the crap out of him, perforated his ass.
And nobody on the internet is shutting up about, he's alive. He's still there. But
how is he gonna be alive? That's the thing. Like, even if he does get brought, is he gonna get brought by Melisandre? Like,
that's
my speculation. Like black magic kind of bullshit.
There's nothing to back this up in the books. I've read all the books up to current, and nothing to back that up in the books. And I don't remember Jon Snow dying in the book, but it's been a while. Melisandre, her last location was riding back to Castle Black from riding away from Stannis. He died there, so I'm thinking she might have a hand in bringing him back. And how that could work is when the Mad King, Aerys Targaryen, when he was getting attacked by Tywin just before he was killed by Jaime Lannister, he had wildfires spread all over the city, and he sent his pyromancer to go light all the fire.
Yeah.
And Jaime Lannister stopped the pyromancer and kept that from happening. But his plan was to light everything on fire. He expected all of King's Landing to die, Aerys did, except for himself, because he's a Targaryen and he's going to live through fire.
Yeah.
He thought he was crazy. He thought he was going to be reborn as a dragon out of the fire. I'm wondering if there might not be any truth to that myth of a Targaryen being reborn out of fire as a dragon. I'm not saying Jon Snow's going to be.
But then you have Daenerys
a dragon,
literally being roasted on that pyre.
Roasted, but she also wasn't dead when that happened. So
yeah,
it's true. It's hard to tell. I think there could be something where Melisandre. I mean, the traditional funeral for Watchmen at the Castle Black is burning at a fire.
funeral pyre. Yeah.
So with Melisandre there, she might throw a little bit of magic in that fire, and maybe Jon Snow comes
pops
back.
Right back. That's actually a cool theory. I didn't think about that.
That's all speculation based on
fan theory,
little bits and pieces. But I do like the idea that Jon Stark comes back, because if he is in fact Rhaegar and Lyanna's son, that's fire and ice. And if you're not a book reader of Game of Thrones, it's a song of fire and ice. Yeah. So it could be cool. It could be tie a lot of things together, but he could also just be as dead as Ned.
Yeah, dead as Ned. D-E-D.
Yes.
Which would be a waste too. But although like I've read that he's actually on set. I think they were filming in Belfast or somewhere in Ireland.
Spoiler alert! If you really want to know some stuff from the books, let's just say it'll be Bran related, and we're gonna get a lot of Bran this season. I think.
Yeah, you're gonna have a high fiber diet. A lot of brands coming your way.
Great one. But if you want to look up any more of that, I'm losing hair, kitty.
Yeah.
If you want to look up any more of that theory about Jon Snow, look up the R plus L equals J, and then the new addition is plus M, because the new addition to the theory is Mira Reed, who you would know from traveling up past the wall with Bran and her brother Jojen,
who died also.
The theory is that she could be Jon's twin, because they were born in the same year.
He looks young in the show, but I guess they could change that.
The theory states that her dad, Howland Reed, this is actually fact from the book, that
real fake history, folks.
Her dad went with Ned Stark to go save Lyanna from Rhaegar, and as we all know, that he was late. Lyanna was raped and dead.
Yeah.
But the theory is that Jon Snow came from that, and that maybe Mira is his twin sister. So that's a possibility. Her hair's not jet black like Jon's, but
that doesn't mean much.
It's a cool theory to think about. It could be a little bit like a separated at birth, like Luke and Leia, Skywalker.
Let's hope they don't make out. That'd be awkward.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see that.
That was really weird in The New Hope. Once you learned after the fact that they were brother and sister, you're like, yeah, I don't think you guys knew about this before you shot the first movie.
I don't know. I'd say awkward. It's pretty hot.
I mean, yeah, different strokes for different folks. There's a lot of stroking going on in Tatooine those days, apparently.
So that's about all I got for Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
we've still a long ways to go, and books. The next book still isn't even out.
Yeah, R.R. Martin's got to pick up the pace a little bit, or start exercising, one of the two.
Yeah,
God
but
forbid.
I mean, the books might not even matter anymore the way the show's going.
Yeah, that's true. I think they didn't they say that they were already past the story.
There's so much stuff in the show now, like that whole scene up at the big point where he was trying to save all the Northerners, the people north of the wall.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the book, and that was really cool. That was cool.
The zombie apocalypse. That was pretty neat.
Just ice zombies, and got to see the Valyrian steel in use there. Actually, that's what it was made for.
I was wondering how they're gonna save that one giant dude too. I'm like, I guess he like just walked all the way to the ship from like the main thing or whatever. But I was like, he's not gonna fit on that life raft, man. I was like, he's literally smashing zombies left and right with his.
They should just let him float on his back and put people.
Yeah, he could be a human raft. His Operation Get on the Big Nose Son of a Bitch and float your way back down south of the wall, because he was not gonna fit on that ship. There was no shot of that.
So we do have one special feature left that we're going to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, we were going to try this. We're not sure if it's going to be a weekly thing or how it's going to work exactly. But today, at least, we're going to have one feature about two characters, fictional or real, or just maybe even people in the future too. And it might not always be on the same thought train. But we're going to talk about their cultural influence and which one had more cultural influence. We think, personally, just our opinions, obviously, and it's nothing to do with any facts. There are facts involved, but it's nothing to do with this is the truth. This is what's going to be proven in the future or has been proven in the past.
Right.
But we're going to look at the cultural influence of Spider-Man versus Batman. And Ben is on the side of Batman, right?
Right.
He chose Batman. And I'm going to go counter with Marvel. even though I'm wearing a Superman shirt. But
Yeah, Batman. I mean, he's Batman. That's the guy I grew up with. I mean, I was born in '85, so I grew up with the '90s. Kevin
God,
Conroy.
you're so old.
Kevin Conroy animated series. And that was still great to watch.
Yeah, holds up.
And even now, going back and watching Adam West, that's just a dumb, fun series.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's
dumb
fun.
and fun. It's
the shark repellent. I think that was in the movie. It wasn't in the show.
the shark repellent. The bat shark repellent was in the movie,
Yeah.
which is also great. '66 movie made $3 million somehow, but that was a good movie.
Yeah.
But
culturally,
culturally, I mean, he's been around since the 30s. He was 1939.
1939. Let's say the 40s.
Okay. However, many people that were raised in the 70s grew up on that 60s Adam West Batman.
Adam West Batman. He's culturally pervasive.
They had Superman. They had Batman. That's who they had to watch on TV outside
pervasive
of their
doesn't
comics.
equal influential though.
Influential. He built DC on his back with Superman.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a second person involved there.
He brought the
Did
human.
a lot of the heavy lifting for DC.
He brought the human side to it. He was the ouch, my parents were killed.
Ouch, my parents
It hurts
died.
inside.
Yeah, usually we just stub our toes. Ouch, but Bruce's parents died. That's about the same level of pain, I think.
He was a person to go to if you had any sadness about you. He was that whiny guy. I mean, maybe not early on. It took him a while to really flesh that out, but it turned out like he was. I mean, look at Tim Burton. That movie is silly, but it's also really dark.
Yeah.
And 1989.
Neo-Gothic kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Almost.
1989. That movie was. That's a whole nother generation's Batman. That's iconic.
He's been reinvented so many times too.
Yeah. There's Adam West is very different from Michael Keaton. Is very different from Christian Bale. And I'm not sure how different Ben Affleck's going to be, except older.
Older and more pissed off.
I think he's going to be a lot like the Dark Knight Rises kind of Batman, where
Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Rises, where he's old and living in his mansion and coming back to fight Bane.
That's Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Rises, the movie.
Oh, the movie? Oh, okay.
I'm talking about he's going to be old like that.
He's going to have a cane and a weird mopey beard?
Well,
He's got a depression beard.
It'd be fun to see. But I mean, it's going to be Dark Knight Returns based.
Yeah, it's going to be Dark Knight Returns.
But I think from what we've seen in theaters, he's going to be a lot more like Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, which is what he should be, because that's a take no shit kind of Batman.
Yeah, and he's from what we know. I mean, we got the Suicide Squad coming out later.
He's in there.
He's already all those characters. He's already beat up and thrown in jail. And
yeah, so that means they have all already existed
this is
the
before
Superman's
universe, coming around. So
before the Man of Steel universe or whatever.
Right.
So it's like it's established canon to a certain extent. Like it's like retconned established canon, I guess is what you say.
Yeah. But yeah, without Batman, we wouldn't have people like Tony Stark, and he's influencing how movies are made right now with Marvel. Like the comic book movie is not the same because of Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would have been a popular character if it weren't for Batman, because from what I understand, I wasn't much of an Iron Man reader. I didn't read him at all. I didn't really know much about him except that there was a guy called Iron Man.
He's an alcoholic.
He was a Class and T comic book character before.
He was
Iron
like
Man.
a B level.
He was not a big character. Batman made him a big character because of Marvel. They had the balls to put him on the screen, but he's just another billionaire
playboy
that hurts
Philanthropist.
inside, and he puts it out on the city with his money and his suit.
With his money and physical violence.
I mean, Tony Stark is Bruce Wayne. That's all it is. But
Tony Stark is a twist on Bruce Wayne, yeah. But that's why I'm saying my Spider-Man, Peter Parker, is a lot more culturally relevant. It's because he changed the whole comic book industry.
Yeah.
Because he changed the perspective with which the writers used to write the characters. He had human problems. He was just a kid in high school.
Which is huge for anybody reading him, because you're
That's
probably
your
a kid
target.
in high school.
That's your target market. You're targeting nerds in high school who don't get the girl, who don't have that many friends.
Kids that don't have superpowers, they could look to him and be like, man, it'd be cool to have those superpowers.
Yeah, but at the same time, like while he's punching Electro in the face, he's also got to worry about, oh, my algebra homework. Mrs. Swede's going to be mad at me. But like he's also dealing with these life-altering things, like literally lives are hanging in the balance, like he's saving people off the street.
Mm-hmm.
He's dealing with the Green Goblin stealing Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy, whoever it was at the time. And it's all this crazy stuff too, but he's He's a more down to earth character, I think, than Batman.
He is. Because, I mean, he can't be down to earth and also a billionaire.
He can.
Who's down to earth and a billionaire?
Richard Branson, I think I could have a good conversation with.
You'd also have to get close to him first.
I mean, he's not that big of a guy.
That's a stretch.
That's a stretch. Okay, that Richard Branson aside, Peter Parker is a far more relatable character, and money doesn't make you unrelatable, because we've seen Bruce hang out with the common man all the time. That's kind of like his tagline, is he's like a hero for the people, not by the people, but he's like the street level hero, as opposed to where Superman's like cosmic level threats. Batman's more like, oh, there's someone robbing a bank, I can do something about that. Whereas opposed to like, oh, there's a meteor hurtling towards Earth near Jupiter right now. Can't really do dick about that.
Yeah.
But Peter Parker, more to the point, changed how comic book writers wrote their books. He changed a lot of the target demographics too, because he identified them, because he was essentially being written on the page as their target demographic.
I think Spider-Man with Steve Ditko,
Mm-hmm.
and
George Romero Sr.
Stan Lee, like I would just that art even early on was awesome, and it went through some weird phases, but it was always coming back awesome. Like Spider-Man's always looked cool on the page. Mm-hmm. I mean that is who I read as far as comic books when I was younger, but Batman was the guy I watched. That was I would much rather turn on TV, see Kevin Conroy voicing Batman, seeing anything on that animated series. Any episode, I'll pick out any episode.
That's true.
Sit and watch
Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman. I'm sorry, like Christian Bale's voice in the Dark Knight movies is laughable.
I liked it. I don't care. People
you had
shit on it, but I get it. But I also liked it.
You had to do it just to mask your voice and stuff, but it's almost inaudible at times. Like
Yeah.
it ruined a perfect, like the one scene where the Joker takes the rich party hostage and Rachel Dawson is there.
Yeah.
And like he's like what did he say to her? I can't remember what it was. But anyways, like Batman's line comes in, is like, well, then you're gonna love me. And it's like, it was inaudible in the theater. Like, is someone vomiting in the background?
That scene was a little
That was
goofy.
Awful. It might have been the sound design. It might have been a number of different things. But the voice certainly didn't help.
Where is she? You can't get better. Where is she?
Yeah, where are the other drugs going? It's so easily parodyable, though, man.
But it's so fun. I love it.
It's fun. But
you have a guy that's pounding your face in the meatloaf.
Swear to me. Where are the other drugs going?
Dropping you from the top of a building,
and then ziplining you back up. And there was a villain from like
so fun.
Too Fast, Too Furious too. It kind of took me out of the movie.
Where is Spider-Man doing that to his bad guys?
Spider-Man doesn't have to. He doesn't have to, because he's like he's as he's beating the shit out of his villains, he's also making fun of them by doing like little quips.
I do love the quips. Batman does not have much of a sense of humor.
No, that's one thing he's not famous for.
That's one of my complaints about Dark Knight Rises, when Catwoman disappears.
It's humorless.
But when Catman disappears off the rooftop, he's like, oh, so that's what that feels like. That was... Why are you still talking in that voice? And come on, stop making jokes. You're not funny.
Yeah, it's like Christian
You're
Bale.
not supposed to be funny.
Just stop. Just stop.
But regardless, that was a fine trilogy, and I'm looking forward to Ben Affleck kicking Superman's ass.
Dude, he's not going to kick Superman's ass. There's no way.
Well, there's no way.
That's a fight for another day. Like,
but
we'll say that for next week. We'll do Batman versus Superman and why.
I've already heard trouble in Man of Steel 2. Like, that's already being delayed.
It's not being delayed. It's being pushed back so they can do
whatever.
more stuff with the Justice League.
But the whole thing about another Superman movie, the best way to make it is throw Batman in there.
Batman makes everything better. Oh my God!
Yep.
You can't have a DC movie without Batman.
Scooby Doo is better with Batman.
Scooby Doo is good in general. They have Scooby snacks and stoners.
And Batman.
If they had Batman, I guess it would be better.
No, they're fairly recent movie.
Recent movie?
Recent,
like in
straight to they did it in the past.
Like a
they also
VOD
redid
kind
it
of
again.
No shit.
Yeah.
Cause remember, like Adam West and Burt Ward, didn't they do like a...
Yeah, I think they did an animated thing with them.
Yeah, because that makes perfect sense. Because I think they were all Hanna-Barbera like voice actors back in the day too.
I think they were all pretty much.
Was it Hanna-Barbera that was Scooby Doo?
I think so. I'm not.
Correct us if we're wrong in the comments.
Not an authority there. Don't correct us. We don't care.
Yeah, that's very true as well.
So Spider-Man, he might be, as far as comic books go, and influence over
the industry itself.
The industry and their readers, he might win.
But also another thing, like this is not really their cultural influence so much, but like just their characters. Spider-Man can still exist even if Uncle Ben didn't die, Batman can't exist if Thomas and Martha Wayne don't die. That is the only reason why Batman exists.
That's true. That's true.
But that has nothing to do
But he
with
does
the
exist. But he does exist, and that's
That's a thing. He does exist. That's a thing.
he's there.
He's there.
I think Batman might have influenced a lot of the industry, but Spider-Man influenced the people that it matters to, like the consumers, the
That's true.
readers.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that's a good point to put it because like he sold millions and millions of books, and he brought on a lot of readers. But Spider-Man changed how the books were written. Because I think around the same... No, that was the 30s too. Was when Robin was introduced. That was like 2 or 3 issues later because they wanted to get more like young readers in on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was the whole thing.
That's what Spider-Man was, and he did it pretty well.
Yeah.
Looking forward to see how they do that in the new movie.
Yeah, moving forward with Spider-Man being in the MCU, we've mentioned it like how we said he's already around, swinging around. It's gonna be interesting to see how they do it. Tom Holland, I think, is the character the actor they got playing him.
Yeah.
Done really good work, I guess, in other movies. I haven't seen him personally, but I hear nothing but good things.
Ender's Game? Is that the one he did?
No, that was Asa Butterfield.
Oh, that's right. I think he would have been good too, but I'm looking forward to Tom Holland.
Yeah, Tom Holland seems like a solid bet. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring this one to a close. Like I said, we went off on tangents. That's what you got to expect with us. We're just conversational. If you have any suggestions on what you want us to talk about or what you'd like us to discuss or debate,
keep it to yourself. We don't care.
Keep it to yourself.
We do what we want.
Yeah, this is our life, not yours. But seriously, let us know.
Comments wherever.
Comments on YouTube, on the podcast feed. Our Gmail is going to be nerdsonnerdystuff@gmail.com. So if you have any questions or comments, whatever you want to say,
feel free to email us. We can
ignore you. Email us dirty pictures. That's fine too. Just email us as much and as often as you want.
Just put Josh in the subject line.
Yeah, put Josh in the subject line so Ben is not subjected to the bountiful bosoms you send our way. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks for hanging out with us. See you later.